Hello folks, welcome to my aquarium project series. Thanks for watching my previous video where I would have shown you a brief glimpse shot of my new tank, Neat Blue. And here I'm going to walk you through the story of how this tank was actually created. The story of which how this turned into this and this turning into this, which led to the creation of Neat Blue. So let's get rolling. Project Neat Blue is actually a combination of my previous two tanks. One of the tank you have already seen it. There is a separate video that I posted on this particular tank. I put the link in the description below. There is also one more aquarium that I had which was in the balcony, and this one I called it the balcony aquarium. So basically Project Neat Blue is a combination of these two aquariums together. Regarding my balcony aquarium, I will definitely do a separate video on this. I'm just compiling all the videos together, so please allow me some time on this. For now, let's just focus on Project Neat Blue. So what happened was, it was end of 2021 and COVID lockdown was slowly getting a little bit more relaxed, and Singapore opened up its border, and I decided to go back home, spend some time there and then come back. So I prepared the entire tank for that journey, including my balcony aquarium as well as my balcony garden. So this is how I left the tank before I flew off. So you can see that I have added a money plant pothos to the tray, and I also installed a small pump that's going to pump water to the surface, so even if the water level drops, there is going to be water available for the plants. So for the balcony aquarium, I didn't do much, just made sure that there is an automatic feeder as with both tanks, and also ensuring that the water level doesn't really drop. So I kept a spare bucket, and also asked one of my friends to come visit every 2 weeks just to top up the water. The same goes with the hydroponic setup as well. So all set, and I flew off. And due to a personal situation, I had to stay there a little bit more longer than what I was expecting it to be. So I arrived in Feb 2022, and this is how the tanks were. Yes, so algae took over the tank, and the main reason was I let sunlight in. So remember on my first video about this particular tank, I said I made a mistake. Initially sunlight was okay as I did regular maintenance, but the moment there was no maintenance, algae took over. So basically it covered the tank, and that reduced visibility internally. So most of the internal plants, they also start dying. Fishes, there was definitely a decline in the population, and most likely they would have died, but somehow I still had a few fishes that were surviving. Interestingly, the water parameters were completely fine. It's just that the algae was looking really ugly and the plants were completely out of the place, and I was figuring out a way to remove the algae. So I tried a few methods, but again, if I look at things now, I could have just used an algae scraper, and that could have done its magic on the glass, and then a few water changes, and with time I could have reversed the tank. But deep inside my mind I was like, shall we just start something new using the contents that we have here on this particular tank. So the balcony aquarium also took a major hit. It was the pothos, the money plant, grew very aggressively, and most of its roots completely occupied the aquarium with very little room for the fishes to swim. Many of the fishes disappeared, and only 3 were surviving, mainly the swordtails. And another thing is the tank also had a small crack at the surface, so I know this is going to get much more bigger as I progress. The hydroponics project was also badly affected. Most of the plants died, and a few were nearly dying, and without maintenance some of the pests also took control. One of the reasons was the tub's water level dropped significantly. So that being said, I decided to do some repairs and try to get this engine running. So I thought of removing all the pothos and restarting the whole system. So no more aquarium hydroponics, just kept it very simple. Auto feeder on the top, and then just going to put the fishes there. Here's all the pothos that was cut from the system. Of course I didn't throw all of them, I did use them in my other projects. Of course, the sponge filter has been functioning for this long. Definitely it's going to have a lot of nutrients in it, so didn't want to put that for a waste, so use that for my hydroponics project. And then here goes my thought process. So I have two tanks. Sunlight is an issue, especially the balcony tank. Both tanks have got a lot of algae on it and I need to scrape my ass off to get these tanks a fresh look. Lastly, can I just have one tank? So that's when I bumped into this particular tank in an aquarium shop, quite a perfect size and perfect volume, so that I can combine both the tank's contents into one. So I decided to go for it. I have said it easy, but it was not an easy task. So I separated the fishes, put them in the tub, and then started working on taking the two tanks out, cleaning all the substrates, and then finally getting them into the setup. And I also decided to move one of those racks to this corner, so that will hold the pumps and the electrical supply. So there you go. So that's the finished setup. So it had all the same components that were there previously in the other setups, except that this time I added a fluidized moving bed filter. I just want to try out to see how this actually works, in addition to a small hang-on filter. So both these are small experiments just to see what kind of impact it's having on the system. And also I'm trying to minimize the noise that this particular tank is actually making. Well, I do have a very silent pump, but how do I get it to zero noise? So that's one of the experiments that I'm currently doing. So I'm trying out with the hang-on filter and also this particular moving bed filter. So let's see how that works. And the rest of the stuffs are all from the previous tanks. And I also bought a couple of new plants to plant in this particular tank just to kickstart the whole process. And also the water was also from the previous tank. So I think if I can remember correctly, I used 40% of the water from the previous tanks, and definitely I also made sure that I did not really rinse the complete substrate fully. So there's still some content from the previous tank, at least to kickstart the aquarium in regards to cycling. So you might be wondering where I got this blue color cover from. So this is the same lid that I had for the balcony aquarium. So I inverted it and it kind of blended in very nicely with this particular tank, and a couple of cute additions on the top. So that's it, guys. I think I pretty much covered it all. So to summarize, my tank is still low tech, small minor upgrades here and there, and of course strictly no sunlight. And I need to make sure that this time I also enjoy with more varieties of fishes and learn more about aquascaping. So on my next video I will tell you a lot more about the journey in regards to the plants and the fishes that I added, and also how the tank evolved. So till then, stay safe and thanks for watching the video, guys.